Welcome to the AnyGames.ie podcast, the home of five-a-side, grassroots and amateur football in Ireland. Our goal is to build a community, connecting people in Ireland through football, discussing the latest news and developments across the country and interviewing the people behind local clubs and organisations, with some Premier League talk in there too. You can catch all our episodes on Spotify and YouTube, get involved in our community on AnyGames.ie and find us on social media through Facebook, Instagram and X. If you like what you hear, follow us, give us a like and get involved in the comments. Now, let's get into this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the AnyGames.ie podcast with myself, Dave.
And me, Gav.
Gav, we're into episode 7 of this.
Hard to believe,
It's hard to believe, isn't it, already? How have you been getting on this week?
Yeah, grand. Football back to normal last weekend. Both of my sons were playing. Both of them won again. So 4 wins from 4 for both of them. So they're off to a great start this season.
Great. How much credit are you taking for that?
Well, I can't really take credit for the youngest fellas because he is not coached by me, but the eldest fella is. So I'm taking all the credit for the eldest fellas. Perfect run of form. This weekend now we're actually going up against the current number 2 in the league. So, and that's away as well. So it could be pretty interesting fixture.
Yeah, good test.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
We could either go 5 points clear or we could go a point behind. So all to play for. It's still early in the season, obviously, but it's always nice to get a good start.
Exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the lads are playing great football. We've had a couple of lads come down, lads from GA teams actually that haven't played football much other than out on the road and stuff. They've been doing really well for us, so it's great to see.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Take all those GA players you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. It's mad. I don't know if I touched on it before on the podcast, but I suppose when you're dealing with schoolboy teams from one season to the next, you don't always know where you stand, and the summers can be a bit mental. Even at the back end of last season, there was lads talking about going on trials during the summer and trying out for other clubs and all this sort of stuff, and wasn't really sure if I was going to be coaching. I was kind of thinking to myself that I might have to bring the young lad for trials himself, you know, if there wasn't going to be a team there. So
I think you had kind of spoken about that in one of the earlier episodes already.
Yeah, and it's things were up in the air for a while, and I think at the back of last year, because we were playing 7-a-side, we had 10 players on the team, and we've moved to 9-a-side, but we now have 14 or 15 lads. It's great. The majority of the lads, I think bar one, because he moved out of the area. He's the only one who left the team from last year, and then we've got a good few lads down. It's great. Even when we're making subs and we're giving everybody game time, there's very little drop off in standard. So yeah,
it's brilliant to see.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good to give security as well, doesn't it?
It's good because you're always, as a coach, you're always trying to find that balance of, you know, winning the game and also making sure everybody gets a fair run out.
Yeah.
Especially because we're out under 12s, and it's important, you know, you're trying to develop each of the lads, and they're not always on the same level. Some lads are always going to be better than others.
But it's probably starting to get competitive at that stage as well.
This is the first year we're actually competitive, so points actually count.
Yeah.
You know, where before your promotion, so to speak, would have been on merit, you know, based off results. The league would know what results went through, but there was no points tally really. So this is the first year where there's actually points on the board. There's a league table proper. You can see a bit of a change in the lads as well from last season. They're coming down and they already know who they're playing the weekend. They're on the DDSL website and they know which teams are in which position in the league, and
the buzz is there going into a weekend.
You know, they know. Like we trained last night, and at the start of the training session they already knew who we were playing. They already knew that they were second in the league. They knew we were playing away, that it was going to be a big game, and it's mad because it's reflected in training. You can really see it in them.
I think that's hilarious because you get some lads playing for senior teams who don't even know who they're playing the weekend.
Yeah, it's mad. You know? Like some lads, you know, I was only listening to another podcast which I'll get into later, but the lads talking about not even bother training, just showing up on a Saturday or a Sunday and togging out and having a great game. Being on the drink the night before or whatever it might be, you know.
There's always that lad turned up after being on the sauce.
Some lads just have it, but thankfully I don't get any of that around the 12s. So long may that continue. I don't know how long I'll keep them like that for.
Yeah, at least another couple of years anyway.
Fingers crossed. Just in terms of the AnyGames platform, then we've had a bit of interaction. Dave, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, interesting this week. Some interaction with people who kind of gave us some feedback on the image we've been using for the podcast, Gav.
And it wasn't positive, was it?
It wasn't positive. One person said, "I see an AI image, I don't listen, thanks."
Yeah, so
Now,
for anybody who's been listening to us maybe on Spotify or on YouTube, there's a cartoon image of myself and Dave with the AnyGames logo in the background and a mic. We'll be honest and say we did use AI, but I think everybody uses AI for everything.
I wasn't trying to hide the fact that it was AI. You look at it, it's clearly an AI picture, you know.
And we'll be straight out and say that we're not actually offended by the criticism whatsoever, and we're open to criticism, and that's what we're here for. But what I found interesting was because I actually like the image myself now, but I listen to a lot of podcasts on Spotify, and some of them I'm listening to religiously every week, and I couldn't even tell you what the logo looks like.
No,
like,
not
I don't
really.
actually go out of my way. Like I have Android Auto on in the car, let's say, so the Spotify image is up and all, but I don't take any notice to it because I'm driving at the time, or if I'm listening to it on my phone, I'm not really looking at the Spotify page, so I don't really take much heed to it. Now obviously other people are different and whatever, and
Yeah, I wouldn't say I dislike the image either. What took me by surprise was somebody would say, "I'm not even listening based on that picture." Wouldn't be willing to give what the podcast is a listen based on what the subject matter is, and just sees an image and I'm like, right, I'm out. And there was more than just one person had said that, which I found.
I think one of the elaborations on that comment, or maybe another comment that was underneath it, was if that's the effort that you're putting into your image, you're obviously not putting effort into the podcast, or something to that effect.
Talk about not being annoyed by feedback,
Yeah.
and which I don't be. If someone
Yeah.
has genuine feedback, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But that's just someone being a clown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just don't disregard it just based off the image. I mean, some people just aren't tech savvy or whatever it might be. But what I would say, Dave, is that all feedback, good, bad, indifferent, we do take it on board, and we do sort of micro-analyse it ourselves. So that is something that we're looking at. We'll probably put it out to our listeners, give them a couple of options, see what they like, put a few out there,
Yeah,
just get a bit of interaction as well.
I'll throw them up on the website and stuff like that, and I'll point people towards it. There'll probably be a poll or something to go with that as well. So we would love to hear from anybody listening when that does go out, and if you can take a look at maybe what we put up there and compare it to what we have, and let us know what you think.
I think it's probably worth asking the listeners as well who've been tuning into us in the last 6 episodes. Is that something that you would look at and pass up on a podcast because you thought the effort wasn't there on the image they put up? Is that something that you take into account? Because
It is very interesting. It's not something I ever thought of, that someone would look at an image and say, "No, I'm out."
yeah,
And maybe that's just naive on my behalf.
maybe so. I mean, we're still finding our feet with the podcast. We kind of started the podcast later than we anticipated as well. So, not that we were in a rush to get it out, but we were eager to get started because our main focus was the subject matter, the content.
Yeah, I suppose that's what we were focusing on, and trying to get ourselves into a place where we could actually start recording.
Yeah. And I'll just finish off this segment by saying that particular website /forum/app is a cesspit for negativity. So
Yeah.
you've probably used the app, and if you have, you've probably read it, but we won't give it too much clout.
No.
Bit of news here, Dave. Breaking news. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be starting our interview series. So we've spoken about it before on the podcast. We've been looking to get out into the local clubs, speak to the people behind it, and we've lined up Liam Tiernan, aka Nelson. Nelson is the head of football at Finglas United. So in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be heading up there and interviewing Liam. Now, in my discussions with Liam, actually I'm going to call him Nelson because I only know him as Nelson. It doesn't feel right to call him Liam. In my discussions with Nelson about coming on our podcast, he informed me that he in fact has his own podcast, which is called 3 Points Plays. So following on from them discussions with Nelson, I had a look at his podcast, had a listen, and I have to say it's a really good podcast.
Yeah,
really.
You pointed me towards it the other day, and after listening to a couple of episodes, and I have to say, really impressed. It's a really good listen.
So when Nelson is on, I'll let him kind of explain it, but the general premise of it is ex-footballers, ex-League of Ireland lads, and it's like a pub chat format.
Yeah.
The lads are just kind of reminiscing, reeling in the years, talking about their own history in football. While listening to it, it got me thinking, Dave, about our history in football, how we started, what first sort of piqued our interest in football. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Dave, and you might just tell me how you got involved in football, or where it started for you.
Yeah, thanks, Gav. Have me on mic though, so you don't need to hand that one to me. Yeah, for me, it's a strange one. I kind of got into football in a kind of club level and stuff like that at an older age. I was in my early 20s. Never really played football as a kid, other than sort of on the street and maybe in school a little bit, was never very good. So as a kid was more of a fan of football, and through my teens more of a fan of football, watching football on telly and stuff like that. Not for the want to get into the game, but
so you did want to play football, it just
never materialised. For one reason or another.
How did you become an Arsenal fan?
I'd like to say that came myself, but I mean, my dad's an Arsenal fan.
Oh, right.
So,
good old Ray.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ray.
But I suppose my favourite player growing up was Paul Merson.
Really?
Yeah.
And what do you make him as a pundit?
Yeah, no, not so much.
He's a bit marmite, isn't he?
He's okay. You either love him or hate him. And as an Arsenal fan, I'll always have a place for Paul Merson. But
great player.
That then changed to Dennis Bergkamp, but
for obvious reasons. We touched on that last week.
We did touch on that.
All-time 11.
But as a kid, yeah, Paul Merson was my favourite player, and I suppose from there, that's where I just always loved watching football and having to kick about on the street. Do you know what I mean? I loved that side of things, which goes then into when I did start joining clubs. And a friend of mine said, "You should just come up," and I was like, "I don't want to do that." My mate Jer. You know Jerry, I think you met him a couple of times.
Yeah, I know Jerry about it.
And he's like, he encouraged me, come on up. And I was like, jeez, Jerry, I'm not good at football, do you know what I mean? But I did go up and spent a couple of years there with Jerry at Griffith Rovers.
Very good. And is it one of those things, when you start something later in life, it's that bit harder?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you find that,
yeah? Like, you realise, I am no good at this thing. But for me, I really enjoyed being part of a club setup and kind of more the social aspect of being involved in a football club, and then seeing the running of a club, and how people really do go kind of the extra mile to make things happen at clubs, and I really enjoyed seeing that. Then I suppose I spent another couple of years at another club, Phoenix Rovers. There had a kind of opportunity again with Jared. Actually, we were there at that club to get into a bit of coaching. Yeah, so there the opportunity came up for Phoenix Rovers. They were starting a second team.
Is this senior level?
Senior level, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So they were starting a second team, and they needed someone to step in and do a bit of coaching there. So Jer put himself forward and asked me to come on with him and do that. So we did that for a year, maybe a year and a half.
How did you find that, dealing with grown men?
Do you know what? I'd rather deal with kids.
I'm the same.
You're talking we were doing the Sunday team, and it was like it would have been easier getting kids out. Do you know, you're on the phone Saturday night, texting, "You available tomorrow?" Some weeks we scraped a team. I'm talking like 11 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a nightmare, isn't it? Chasing grown men around.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting one. Times come and you realise, there'll be a couple of weeks and Jared had a lot more experience in football than me, and it'd be the odd week Jared might not have been available for one reason or another, and then you swiftly realise how out of your depth you are talking to a bunch of lads who've played football for longer than you, and you're trying to tell them, what to do.
So because you didn't really have that experience at youth level, let's say, coming up through the ranks or playing football just in a team-based setting as a kid, did you have that imposter syndrome then when it came to taking the reins when Jerry wasn't there?
100%, yeah, definitely. And there were some good people at that club as well, really good coaches, years and years doing it, you know what I mean? And you're kind of looking at them, and I was young at the time, early 20s, and you're looking at people who are doing it week in, week out, and they've been doing it for years, and you're just like, what? I don't belong. Well, you feel like you don't belong, but then you look at it and then you think, well, we're here and we're getting stuck in with getting this team off the ground, this second team. Do you know what I mean? So there is that side of it as well. And again, I loved being up there at the time. It was a good experience.
How long did you spend doing that?
I think I was up there at that club for 2, maybe 3 years. I can't remember exactly now.
And you weren't playing at this time?
I started out. I joined to just to play a bit of ball.
Yeah.
But then done a bit of coaching as well. Then towards the end, and then that's where that kind of journey finished for me. And
was it at that point then that you kind of moved towards the 7-a-side football with the job and that? Or did that come a good bit after?
It wouldn't have been long after. But yeah, I would have finished up with Phoenix, and then I suppose started up in the job that we both worked in, and it wasn't long then that we started up the 7-a-side.
Yeah, because when we were in the job, we had a good cohort of lads similar ages. I suppose the ability levels were kind of...
They ranged from...
very varied. Like, there was lads who'd never kicked the ball at all.
And, lads who were referred to as traffic cones.
Yeah, there was a lot of abuse thrown around the pitches. I'm surprised a lot of the lads came back, because, you'd be winning the game and you'd have that one lad in goal. And like that, you might as well have had a traffic cone in, because they just didn't move. And it got competitive.
It did get competitive. Do you remember, we won't name names on here, but he knows who he is, and if he's listening, right, he'll know. That one lad who looked like he was sprinting like all hell.
And got nowhere.
He was moving like a snail.
Yeah.
It was like, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And we had that moment where Adam was playing with us.
Yeah.
And Adam was short in stature.
Yeah.
Hadn't much football experience that I know of. I don't think he had really played much football.
Nobody, jeez, he'd run all day.
But I always remember the cross that came in, and he was up against Peter. Yeah. Who was 6'4", probably
something like that. Yeah.
He was 6'4", big and played ball. Yeah. Good level footballer. And
I'm laughing because I know what's coming.
Adam out jumped him and headed it, and my mate Ross goes, "Jesus, you're like a salmon."
Yeah.
And the nickname Salmon stuck.
It stuck.
He wasn't best placed.
No. Although I think he learned to come to terms with it.
He did. We had P, who was known as the postman.
Yes.
Although he never delivered. So I think that nickname was given an irony. I think was it
the ironic nicknames of all time. That's why I love the 7-a-side sort of side of football, because you get all those characters.
Well, if anything you could take from your journey in football, would you have any regrets? Like, would you have the regret of not starting at schoolboy level?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I always feel like when I'm playing football, or like when I'm playing even 7-a-side, or when I was playing at clubs, I always feel like I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But
your mind and your body wouldn't cooperate.
The ability wasn't there. But I could see something. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's that's the pass I want to make, or that's the run I want to make.
That's the position I should be in.
Yeah, and then just everybody else has copped onto that before I did.
Yeah, the game's already passed. It's half time.
Yeah. So
I think the great thing about football, though, there's something out there for everybody. Like, obviously you've set up AnyGames.ie off the back of a passion for football, having not really come up through schoolboy level. Like, everybody's sort of history with football is different. I mean, I touched on Nelson's podcast there, and a lot of the guests that he's had on, although they've all played primarily at a high level, whether it be League of Ireland or the higher divisions of amateur football in Ireland, they've all had different paths to get there. They've all had a different story. Like, you'll have lads who might have been primarily playing GAA up until they were 14, 15, then found themselves making the switch and
getting to the game late but still managing to play at a high standard. It doesn't happen often, I find, particularly nowadays. Football is so competitive. You've got queues out the door to get into the best academies, and you know, a lot of parents dream of having their child playing in the Premier League, or they just want to make their kid happy, and their child's dream is to play in the Premier League or wherever it might be. So that's not to say that somebody who comes up through schoolboy level and is sitting there watching the Premier League at the weekend is any more or less passionate than somebody who's never kicked the ball. You know, I think I said this to you before. You don't have to have played the game to enjoy the game or love the game. And the same could be said for, I don't know, Formula 1, let's say.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mad about Formula 1. They've never necessarily driven a race car. Do you know what I mean? You can be heavily invested in something and passionate about something without having ever, you know, tried it out yourself. So
you look at, you know, people with disabilities, lifelong season ticket holders at clubs.
Yeah.
Like, tell me they're not passionate about the game.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You know,
so it's an interesting. That's why I thought it'd be a good segment to have this week, just to have that discussion, because I only kind of got to know you when we were both in our sort of early to mid 20s, and I didn't know what your experience was with football. Other than I did know that you'd done a bit of coaching, but that was fairly kind of close to the time we started working together. So
yes, that was still sort of fresh in the memory.
Yeah.
But what about yourself, Gav? What about your kind of beginnings and up to now with football?
Well, I suppose my earliest memory of football is playing in what they used to call the mini leagues. So I grew up in Finglas South, and I lived in the posh estate, which is what it was nicknamed. And we faced out onto the stretch, and they had the football pitches right there in front of us. They used to run these mini leagues. I think it was kind of at a time before academies and stuff. And I always remember there was a couple of characters that were going around in Finglas at the time in football. There was Joe Bennett and Jackie Kelly. They would just, you know, they'd nearly stop you on the street and go, "Are you playing football, son?
Yeah.
Do you want to come over and do you want to get involved?" and so on and so forth. And yeah, so I remember playing in this mini league tournament. We had made it to the final, and the final was going to be on in a day or two. So I rounded up all my friends on the road and said, "Come on, lads, I need to practice for this final." So I had the lads play a little match on the road, and during that match my runner came off, and I was desperate to still win the ball, so I went in and sprained my ankle.
Oh no.
And I didn't get to play in the final. Now listen, I was probably 6, 7, around that age.
Devastation.
Oh, I was devastated. I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. And
it's obviously left some lifelong scars.
It's some lifelong scars, yeah. What could have been if I hadn't have been for that sprained ankle. No, but I think it was Jackie Kelly said to me, you know, come up, you're still coming up to the final. And, you know, I had to sit there and watch the final take place, and the team had lost the final, and I always had that, if I had been playing, me would have won, you know, one of these, like, little ego in me at 6 or 7. But I was quite lucky in that on the road that I lived on, there was 5 of us all in around the same age, 5 lads, and we were all into football. So, you know, remember how great it used to be back in the day. You'd be literally playing till the street lights came on during the summer. It used to be brilliant. But one of my mates, his dad set up a team, I think we were probably 8 or 9 at the time, called St. Helena's, and we played a season with them. We actually had 2 lads that were terrific footballers, like really good. They were just running the pitch, you know, even at that age. They were running the pitch. One of them was Sean Fitzpatrick. He went over and did trials in his teens over in England. And then another one was Git McCann. And Git McCann went on to play for Burnley.
Okay.
And I think he captained Burnley actually, but he was with them while they were in the Premier League. There's a great image of him going up against Ryan Giggs actually. I think he might be retired now, but he was with Shell. I think he finished up at Shamrock Rovers, sorry. But these were lads that you just knew were going to be good from an early age.
Yeah, you could just see it.
Yeah. So I did one season with St. Helena's, and another mate of mine had started playing GA up at Airdensoil. So he said to me one of the Saturdays, do you want to come up? So I went up and stayed there for 6 or 7 years, I'd say, probably a bit more.
At Airdensoil?
At Airdensoil.
Right.
Really just took to the GA, loved the GA. And funnily enough, my mate who brought me up, he was a bit younger than me, so I ended up playing for the older team, and didn't know anybody at the start, but we had a great team. God, we were in Division 1 in both hurling and football. It did really well. We actually had Git McCann playing for us at one stage until his football club told him he wasn't allowed to play again anymore because they were worried about him getting injured.
Yeah.
So that's when you knew he was good, you know. I think he might have been Tulker Rovers he was playing with at the time, but like at 13 or 14, like he used to kick the ball like he was a grown man. Do you know what I mean? Some power, cracking left foot, but
as you said, you can just see.
You just knew there was levels to this, and I was nowhere near as good as he was.
Yeah.
So while I was playing for Erdens Oil, I went back and played for Rivermount. I always remember, I think I did a season at Rivermount, and one of my favourite memories was playing against Ballymun United up on what they used to call the San Siro.
Okay.
Because it was a pitch basically surrounded by flats.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And we went up and played them. It was a midweek game close to the summer, and there was like grown men, I think we were under 14s at the time, there was grown men hurling abuse at us and everything like. And there was air striker Jay. I think the game finished 1-1, and it was one of those where we had driven out to the game in the back of the manager's van. You know, like there was 10 of us squeezing into the back of the manager's van and stuff. And the game finished 1-1. We're getting back into the van, and the striker Jay, the manager says to him, "Come on, you're getting in the van." He's like, "Oh no, it's grand. Me nanny only lives down the road. I'm going to walk down." So he's like, "You sure?" Yeah, grand. So off we went. We got to the first set of traffic lights, and you just see Jay sprinting down the road, getting chased out of Ballymun. Yeah, absolutely hilarious. We had to speed after him and get him to jump in the back of the van. It was comedy gold. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. But me Rivermount days came to an end because I was kind of playing for them and Erdens Oil at the same time.
Okay.
But there was most of the time I got away with it because they didn't clash. But there was one weekend that was clashing, and I chose to play for Rivermount in this particular game. But the Erdens Oil game was going on literally on the pitch next to it, and the manager came over and lifted me off Erdens Oil. That was it. I didn't stick around at Rivermount for too much longer after that. But when I was 15, then we moved out of Inglis, so we moved out to Tyrrellstown, and I was trying to get back to training at Erdens Oil. I was getting kind of lucky in at Dublin under 14s and 15s at that stage. But when we moved, Tyrrellstown was like the country to me. Like, it was miles out, even though it's in Blanchardstown essentially. It was miles out, and there wasn't much of a bus service around set up.
There wouldn't have been then.
I'd no way really. I was getting buses here and there, and I was trying to make it back to training, and did my best to kind of stick it out with Erdens Oil, but it was just kind of getting harder and harder as the winter months and stuff came in. You're standing there for 2 hours waiting on the bus. It wasn't ideal, so I ended up packing it in at Erdens Oil. I kind of, at that stage, I had the itch to go back and play football. So at that point, I joined Verona.
That's a distance.
Yeah, not the Italian Verona. The Verona just beside Blanchardstown Shopping Centre there in Kilmoyne. And that was probably one of my favourite years playing football. We had a cracking team, great bunch of lads. Our goalkeeper, Owen, actually is cousins with my now wife, which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
But he was a cracking goalkeeper. But all through that team, we just had a really good team. We weren't playing at a particularly high standard, but for the league that we were in, we were competitive. And that year we went all the way down to the last game of the season, and we lost on penalties. But honestly, just great memories playing with that team.
Sometimes though, you say there, sorry, that the level wasn't great, but sometimes it's just getting back out.
The level doesn't have to be like, I mean, it can be different if you're coming from playing at a high level, and then you're dropping down standard. But I never really played at a high level because I think I went back and forth between GAM, football, and never really focused on one or the other. Not that I'm saying I had any great talent to begin with, but I probably would have excelled in one if I had just focused on one, where I was kind of always chopping and changing, going back and forth. So unfortunately, at the end of that season, the team kind of fell apart. There was a space there for about 2 years maybe where I didn't really do anything, and then I go back to my friend Ross again. He was playing GA at Perdigons, so again asked me to come down. So that was junior level, again not particularly high standard, but again did that for a couple of years. And I was actually in a game against Tyrrellstown GA for Peregrines, and the lads knew me from Tyrrellstown because I was living up there, and they were saying, "Oh, would you come over and come and play with us?" And I was like, no, I'm happy here with Peregrines, and I'm not going up or whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure the circumstances of how it happened, but I ended up leaving Peregrines and joining Tyrrellstown football team. So again, this is what I'm saying. I went from GAD to football to GAD to football constantly. Constantly. I think I have some form of ADHD or something because I can't focus on one thing for long enough.
Was Tyrrellstown probably the start maybe of you staying more on football?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when I was playing for Tyrrellstown was really, really in its infancy. It really only started. The GAA had a bit of a head start, but the football in particular, I think they only at the time had 2 senior teams, one Saturday, one Sunday, and that was it really.
Okay.
So a lad that I'd actually played with at Verona, he was the one who asked me to come up. He said, come up and join, and did a couple of seasons there. We went through a couple of managers. We did all right. We were never really that competitive in terms of going for leagues or winning anything really, but again, I just enjoyed it. You know, It was a good bunch of lads, good mix of lads. A lot of lads that I'm still friends with now. I think that's important, as you said. Once you're enjoying it, you don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Look, it's great to win trophies and it's great to do whatever, but I wasn't really in it for that. I was in it, as you said, for the social aspect of it, because when I was playing for Tyrrellstown, we were sponsored by the local pub, and they used to put a couple of platters on for us after every game.
Yeah, that was Sunday. Yeah,
so
back to the public or whatever,
it used to be great. You know, now this was before I had kids and whatever.
Yeah.
So I had the free time. You'd go out to your match on a Sunday morning, you'd come back, have your platters, have your few points, watch the football in the pub, and it was great.
Yeah.
You know, you'd always have a great laugh.
Thinking about where you are now.
Yeah.
And your coaching.
Yeah.
And how did you get to that point? I know, like your kids have you in that, and
yeah. Well, my first experience coaching was with Tyrrellstown. So what had happened was, while I was playing for Tyrrellstown, there was one particular game I was playing centre half. I think I was probably mid-20s at this stage, probably around 25. I was walking mature at this stage, so you'll probably remember this, but it was one of those, it was a real end-to-end game, really competitive, but you know, one of them when you just know you're having a good game.
No.
Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. But it didn't happen often, but I was having a good game this game. I was playing centre half. They were getting the ball down the wings and getting plenty of crosses in, but I was just meeting everything, just heading everything away. And I think we went in 0-0 at half time, and early in the second half I think we got a goal, and like that they were still using the same tactics, either long balls or get the ball out to the wing, cross it in. And I just felt like I'd had such a good first half. I was like, I can't be touched this game. I'm just having one of them games. You know what I mean? So I was going for everything. This long ball came straight down the middle, up towards the striker, and I'm standing behind the striker going up for the ball. I get to the ball first, I climbed above the striker and cleared it with my head, but he tried to flick it on and he headed back to me. So what ended up happening was I headed the ball while his head was going backwards, mine was going forwards. So the back of his head, it ended up smashing into my face, and I went down on the ground, and I had the manager and the ref come over just to check if I was alright. And my manager saying to me, "Are you alright? Can you play on?" And the referee says he can't play on. His face after caving in. My face is after doing what now? So what actually happened was I had broken my eye socket and fractured my cheekbone. So that side of my face had all sunk in. Ended up getting brought to the hospital and did the x-rays, all that sort of stuff, and sent me home, and I had to go back a few days later to get an operation and get a plate put in and all that good stuff.
I remember all that, yeah.
So I was out for about 6 weeks. During that time, the manager that we had moved from Tyrrellstown to Mocktus, and it was sort of mid-season, towards the end of the season really. So the lads were on to me, going, "Look, and you know you can't play, like you're still injured or whatever, but we've no manager and we still have 6 games left this season, like would you come down and just give us a dig out?" So I ended up going down and managing for the last 6 games. But again, like that was my first taste of coaching on my own. I'd helped out with teams before and just giving a dig out and stuff, but that was me kind of first taste at it. And
did you enjoy it?
I did to a point. I mean, it's like you said, the organisation side of things with grown men, making sure that they're there on time. Like, it was a bit of a surreal moment. I had one of the lads who a couple of weeks previous was playing next to me in defence, and he came up in a bit of a rag order.
Okay.
Wasn't really fit for purpose. So I think we might have only had 11 men, and he just wasn't. He was just having one of them games where he was off it completely, and he shouldn't have been playing to begin with. But late to a tackle, gets sent off, and he's just coming over, just apologising to me. He just grabs his gear and walks away. And you're like,
yeah, great,
nice one, thanks for that. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you said earlier. I definitely, having now coached kids, it's definitely handier. But spoken to other coaches, when the kids start getting to sort of 15, 16, that's when it starts getting challenging again.
Certain things creep in.
I'm enjoying it while they're at the age they're at now at the moment, and we'll go from there. But yeah, some interesting characters I've come across, and it's as you said, like, if you're into football and you want to get involved in one way or another, you don't have to be starting at academy level. It's never too late, is what I'm trying to say. You can get involved at any stage, whether it's coaching, managing. There's people always looking to get involved, and that kind of ties in with what we're doing at AnyGames.
Yeah,
connecting people.
Just trying to get people involved with football, or get people playing, or in whatever way they want to get involved with the game. Yeah,
you don't have to have played before. You can go out and you can join a 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 7-a-side, whatever it might be. You can go down and help out a club, as backroom staff, as a coach. Most clubs now are running courses for coaches or sending them on courses. And if the interest is there and you want to get involved, by all means, stick a post up on AnyGames.ie there,
and see if someone bites a wee shout it out.
Yeah, we'll spread the word for you.
I mean, we spoke about Ratto Harps and people winning awards there for stuff they've done at the club.
Yeah,
didn't necessarily play or coach, but they are a big part of what that club is.
Yeah,
and they get recognised for it. And if anybody feels like they don't belong, or they've no experience in the game and probably have no place in it, that's just not true.
No, and clubs more often are constantly on the lookout for volunteers for one position or another. It doesn't have to be coaching. As I said, it can be help setting up pitches before matches, or helping taking down the goals after a match, or whatever it might be. A linesman, and it could be the smallest thing, the biggest thing, but if it's something that you're passionate about and it's something that you want to get involved in, I'm sure there's clubs out there that'd be happy to have you.
Like I spoke about having that imposter syndrome, coming into the game so late and coaching that team for Phoenix Rovers that time, and feeling like, what am I doing? But that being said, and with time passing, you look back on it and think, well, myself and Jay did step up, and we did get the ball rolling for that team. Didn't stick around coaching it too long, but at least we kind of got that first season, done and dusted.
Yeah, and volunteers like that, I find, are particularly important at youth level, because what you'll find is most people involved at coaching at younger level are there because they have a child involved.
Yeah,
that's usually what gets them in there. You're up there watching them train on a Tuesday and Thursday, and you're at every match, and then suddenly, the coach that was there before can't commit anymore. Or in my case, what had happened was there was too many players at one stage. It just made more sense to branch out into two teams and have two separate teams, which is what we did. We went Saturday and Sunday. That's how I ended up taking a team. So I'm not going to say on my own, because there's 3 of us that do the coaching, but before that I was kind of assisting with the young lads team. There was another dad who had already kind of stepped up and took on that role. Yeah. So usually that's kind of how it happens. But what you'll find is, like even I was saying to you now, I had 10 last year, ended up with 15 this year. You could end up next summer, you could have 25 lads down, and then you're kind of looking around going, can anybody else make another team out of this?
Yeah.
And that's usually how it happens. So there's always, as I said, there's somewhere, there's a position for you in football if you want it. Go look for it. Put yourself out there and get involved. Just before we finish up, Dave, outside of this podcast, have you any interest in returning to football? Like, would you like to get back involved with a seven-a-side, or would you get into coaching maybe?
At times, yeah, I do. I also at times don't think I have time, just with bits and pieces in life. Do you know what I mean? If my body would allow me, definitely get back into a bit of seven-a-side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As for coaching, give me another couple of years and maybe, do you know, like...
Yeah.
I remember when my young one went up to Ratout Harps and she done that season up there, I was getting that itch looking at her on the pitch, and you know, watching the week to week of being involved with football, and I was like, kind of miss it, even down to, like, you know, the smell of the grass, like all of that. You know?
The senses that come with it, the sensory,
all of that, and
aspect.
I was like, I kind of started getting the old flashbacks, you know.
Yeah, I think for me it's the social aspect of it now. Like, I look at the club that I'm involved with now, and you know, we've things like Christmas parties coming up, and because like me, I've got kids involved in 2 teams, and one of the other coaches is my youngest son's coach. You know, so you're talking to him, and I think just the social aspect of it is a good community where I am at the moment.
Yeah,
and they're doing really great things with the club, and we'll touch on that more in a couple of weeks' time when we sit down with Nelson, just how the club has progressed. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, it does take up a lot of time. It's not just a case of rocking up and putting out a few cones on a Tuesday and Thursday and putting a team together for Sunday. It's, you know, it's almost every day, because you're checking to make sure you have the numbers. You're sending out the location for the match at the weekend, putting up polls to make sure everybody's available, and at the start of the season in particular, because you know, you're making sure all the kids are registered with the league, you're making sure that they've paid their membership with the club, you have to get their subs, you make sure that they have the right kit, and as I said, make sure that everybody's committing to the club before you move forward, before you make any plans.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that goes to it, but you know what, Dave, I wouldn't change it. Not just because we're doing well this season. Like, this is my 3rd year doing it, and this is the best we've been doing, but people don't realise, like, you know, there's probably 2 years previous all the work that's gone into it to get us to this point.
Yeah.
And for the work that the lads themselves are putting in, you know, they've been with us from the start as well, so to see them sort of really come into a bit of form now and start to click for them, it's great, you know, and that's the reward, you know, because
brilliant.
You're doing it as a volunteer, but that's what you do it for. So
that's what you do.
Yeah, it's great.
Just from my side of things again, and just to finish off about getting back involved with football, I suppose without even thinking about it, starting this AnyGames.ie platform was a way for me to try and connect with the game again. Yeah, you know, and to help others get involved as well.
I've always known your passion for football. I mean, if you remember our break tables and work, they were literally like, if we had had a mic, that would have made for a great podcast. We probably would have been cancelled by now.
Well, yeah, there were some things that, you know, wouldn't have made it on.
No,
you know, but that's the beauty of editing.
But you've always been passionate about football, and that's what I'm saying. You don't have to have played the game to have that passion for it, or to be involved. There's something out there for everybody. So if I've one take away from this episode, it's get involved with football. If your passion is there, you know, you don't just have to sit there and be on the other side of the telly watching it. You know, you can get out and you can get involved in your local community and put that passion to use.
Exactly. And I suppose to finish that off, AnyGames.ie is a place that might be able to help you do that. If you head over there and post anything that you want to get involved with, to do a football like that, we shout it out on this podcast and on our social platforms as well.
So we'll move on to our news segment, In the News. And Damien Duff's in the news this week. What can you tell us about that?
He is. So this is a good move for Damien Duff, I think. He's been given a technical advisor role at FIFA on a temporary basis for next month's Under-17s World Cup in Qatar.
What does that involve?
So from reading up on it, it's an advisor role, so he'll be there attending games and making kind of match reports and compiling detailed reports on players, you know, teams and stuff like that, and feeding back to FIFA. As I said, it's a temporary role. I'm not sure what it means for him in the longer term, but it's going to look very good on his CV going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, following on from his success last year at Shells, I mean, I'd be interested to hear what Shells fans think of how he departed. Did they have any ill feeling towards him leaving the way he did, or was it a case that it was just the time for him to go? I know he had spoken himself about how the lads just weren't as hungry, maybe having already won the league.
Yeah,
they weren't hungry enough to go again. From the soundings from the club was that he had very high demands, but maybe moved too far out of his station sometimes in terms of getting involved with maybe what some of the club owners were doing, or stepping out of his station really, and trying to dictate what other people were doing around the club. Maybe I don't know how true that is now. That's just rumours. That's not fact. It's just what I've heard.
Could that come from maybe he's just demanding as a coach, and he demands more from a club who he sees maybe aren't showing the ambition? I don't know. And then that feeds back out into kind of the public domain as, he's overstepping the mark, or because who does that come from? That come from someone within the club who didn't like the fact that he might have called them on something, and this is all speculation. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a balancing act, because obviously he's played at the highest level, and the high demands that he put on Shells ultimately won them the league.
Yeah,
and they were very successful last season, and kind of they hadn't been for so long. They were kind of in the dark in Irish football.
Yeah, they were
for so long. Haven't had the success maybe in the 90s and 2000s and so on, even before that. But
they'd kind of gone in, I wouldn't say obscurity, but they'd kind of drifted off into just being there.
Yeah, and for what he did and the turnaround that took place, he probably wanted to kick on a bit further, increase the standards across the club in different areas, and maybe the people at the club just didn't see fit. I mean, there's no point in us kind of over speculating, because we don't know what goes on.
What happened. Yeah, we don't know what happens.
But I'd like to get Shells fans' opinions on it. If you want to get involved in the comments and let us know. I think a lot of people were maybe surprised when he left, how he left, but I'm just wondering what the feeling was.
Yeah, was there any ill feeling there, or was it just regret maybe that he had left and the circumstances?
Yeah, but it certainly won't be the last we hear of Damien Duff in football anyway. He's made this move to FIFA, whether that's with a view to move up the ranks within FIFA, or maybe just put himself in the shop window for future managerial positions. It remains to be seen. But
think we have a future Ireland manager there?
I would say so. It's probably what we need. I mean, we'll touch on the internationals shortly, but we need something drastic, because
I'll just say this:
what's there at the moment isn't working.
If he does ever step into the role of Ireland manager, I hope the Ireland team and the Ireland setup is in a healthier position, because I think he could be a good coach for the team, and I would hate to see him come in at the wrong time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting then to see what kind of backroom staff he would have. I mean, Hallgrimsson has the likes of John O'Shea and stuff there at the moment. Keane was talking on the overlap there a couple of weeks ago, and he was kind of saying he wouldn't mind having Damien Duff there.
Yeah,
it was Damien Duff he was referring to, wasn't it? I'm nearly sure it was. I think he was kind of saying him and Damien Duff. He was saying that he'd be the good cop and Damien would be the bad cop. I'm not sure if that would be the case, but
no,
it'd be certainly interesting. It wouldn't be boring,
No, I'd like to see a lot of. I'd like to see some players, some ex-Irish players involved in the setup.
Yeah,
a bit more. I do like that John O'Shea is there, and actually,
he got booked last night. Actually,
did he?
Yeah, it was gas because it just so happened then the mic was beside him, so when he got booked, all you hear is, "What's that yellow card for? That's bloody ridiculous." Something to that effect. Anyway, it was magic timing. But so yeah. Also in the news, we've got League of Ireland players who have qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah, I was looking at this. This is really good.
It's ironic that so many League of Ireland players can't get a look in with the Ireland squad. Now the Ireland squad looking like they're not going to qualify, and yet we've got League of Ireland players playing for other countries.
Yeah,
and they've done just that.
I actually was speaking to someone about this today, and you have to see it as the right kind of pathway that they chose. Going to, so you look at
Pico,
at Shamrock
Pico
Rovers,
Lopez, yeah.
and he goes to Cape Verde, is it?
Cape Verde.
We'll never get a look in the Ireland setup.
No.
So he made that choice to, get some international football, and now he's going to a World Cup.
Yeah, so his mum is Irish, I believe, and his dad is Cape Verdean.
That's right, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I was looking at kind of the backstory into how we got involved in the Cape Verde setup. So he had set up a profile online, and he was getting some spam emails and stuff, and he had gotten one from the manager at the time asking if he would be interested, but I think it was in Portuguese, so he just thought it was spam, so he didn't really think too much about it. And then it was a while later he got one in English, and he read it, and he went back and translated the original email that he had gotten, and he was like, "So sorry, I didn't realise, I thought it was spam."
That's funny.
I'd take that opportunity, but still going. So that's how we got involved. So delighted for him. It's great to see, and best of luck. But he's not the only one. Joseph Anang, the goalkeeper with Pats, also received the caller for Ghana, who've now qualified for the World Cup as well. So both Rovers and Pats are set to actually benefit financially, because there's a fund that FIFA run that actually reward teams with players heading to the World Cup. So I'm not sure of the exact figure, but it's set to be 6 figures.
Okay.
For each player. So yeah, nice little financial reward for both Rovers and Pats there, and also best of luck to the two boys. And they may well be they're likely to be the only 2 players actually travelling over to the US from the League of Ireland, by the looks of it.
Representing Ireland, yeah.
Get
yourself a Cape Verde jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be rooting for.
I actually googled it today. It's actually nice.
Is it a nice jersey?
It's kind of like a navy blue, but it has like the islands.
Very good.
It's nice, actually.
Very good. Well, there you go. We'll be all, even though I'm a Bulls fan, we'll be keeping an eye out for Pico Lopez at the World Cup next year in Cape Verde.
I suppose that's a nice way to
nice little segue
into the Ireland team.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too long about it. I don't think.
If I can make one observation.
Yeah.
Watching Ireland reminds me of watching Man United at the moment. When we go up against strong teams, we become defensively solid and are difficult to break down. It's the games where we are expected to win, the likes of Armenia, going out there and
scraping a 1-0 win.
But it's how we're doing it. So we advance up the pitch. It didn't happen too often. The first half didn't look like we could create a chance at all, and Armenia were playing great football. They were getting the ball down, they were playing it around, creating angles, passing move, all the simple stuff, and Ireland couldn't lay a glove on them. But any time we did get forward, we were so easy to transition against. Every time we lost the ball high up the field, Armenia within seconds were creating a chance down the other end. Yeah, it just looks like the belly of the team is a bit soft, lacking a bit of creativity. And I don't know if you've seen, after the Armenia game, Richie Sadlier kind of went on a bit of a rant, but I actually agreed with him. So essentially he was saying, why are we sitting here talking about all the permutations of if this result goes our way, or if we pick up points here or pick up there? Why are we actually sitting here thinking that we're going to go to Hungary and win, or that we're going to perhaps get a point or 3 points off Portugal when they come and play us at the Aviva?
He's spot on. Actually, quite like Sadler.
The only points that we've picked up is the 1 point against Hungary, who went down to 10 men, and the 3 points now against Armenia, who also went down to 10 men.
10 men. Yeah.
And before those teams had players sent off, we didn't look like we were in the game at all.
No, it's just flat. It's dead. Like, it's just, there looks to be no creativity in it at all.
And very much like United, as I said, you're looking, going, is it the players? Is it the tactics? Is it the manager? Is it all of the above? It's. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where they're kind of going wrong. On paper, they look like they should be a solid team, definitely enough there to be the likes of an Armenia. I think Armenia are in the hundreds in terms of FIFA rankings. We're 61, so there's a bit of a gap there, and they, for the most part, until that sending off, they were playing the better football. So I don't know where we go from here.
I was thinking about it today, thinking about the fact that we scraped that win against Armenia and struggle, and then you look at things like Cape Verde, like getting to the World Cup and stuff like that, and it's just other nations, other teams seem to be able to get it right without having a huge talent pool, without having, I suppose, much investment that they could possibly put in. You look at countries like Iceland, even with that population. What's their population? Something like
less than 600,000, I think.
Yeah, these countries seem to be able to do it, and like that, I say about the talent pool.
Am I right in saying when Iceland qualified for the 2018 World Cup that Hallgrimsson was the manager?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he's coming with less of a talent pool, probably less household names. Now obviously we're Irish, so for the most part they're going to be household names to us, but a lot of these lads playing in the Premier League, as we've spoken about, and surely they should be able to put better performances in.
You have to think so. It can't just be all down. And we know the problems, and we spoke about the problems with the FAI and the issues from grassroots level up to the Ireland team. But surely the 11 players picked have enough quality to be able to put in a performance against Armenia and win it without having to resort to them being down to 10 men and scraping a result.
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on. As I said, a lot of these lads are doing well with their clubs and they're playing at a very high level, and maybe there's just not enough of them. Maybe there's not. I mean, our best player in the last 2 games was Seamus Coleman. The man's 37. He's kind of at the back end of his club career. He's not getting much of a look in other than a couple of League Cup games with Everton. So
you sent me actually a thing about Seamus Coleman. Did you? I think it was you sent it to me. His comments on sometimes wearing the Ireland jersey is heavy, but it should be heavy, and you should be able to meet that. I don't know the exact quote now exactly, but he was talking about it was essentially
shouldering the
responsibility
of wearing the jersey.
Yeah,
Seamus Coleman is top class. He's always been consummate professional. Gave everything out on the pitch, and he does lead by example. And there was only maybe 2 or 3 players, him included, that kind of stood out in the last 2 games. Manning, I thought, did really well at left full in both games. Seamus Coleman, I know Evan Ferguson went and scored the goal and stuff, but
and then got injured.
Yeah, he wasn't really getting much service either, in those 2 games. Now look, we're up against Portugal. I think the tactics were right for that game in terms of sitting in and maybe looking to counter on the break or whatever.
Yeah.
If you try play against Portugal, you open up space. They're going to play between the lines, and that's a 5-0 game then.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of have to have that.
Like you do have to know your limitations as well, and that's fine. That's fine.
But it nearly looked like we had the same setup going in against Armenia.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be the case.
So I don't know whether there was a bit of trepidation there, having been beaten by Armenia already, that they felt like don't lose.
Yeah,
that Arteta mentality that we spoke about. So look, we'll see. We won't spend too long on it because
I don't think there's too much more to say.
It's not a happy news story, really. Even though we picked up 3 points, but we'll move on then to the Premier League and what's coming up this weekend. Thank God it's back, because I can't take much more of international football.
It's Hal Grimson.
It's Grimson.
First game of the weekend then, Gav, we have Forest against Chelsea. Forest at home.
Forest at home. Oh, it's an interesting one. I reckon this might be Ange's last game.
Yeah, I think so. I saw an interesting candidate touted today. I don't know if you saw this. Sean Dyche.
Is that what Forest need?
I don't know.
I mean, you're going from Nuno, who was, I would have said, set up for a counter-attack. He definitely had the players for it, in the likes of Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White. And as we said before, Ange wasn't coming into a struggling team. He was coming into a half-decent side that had a really good season last year and is trying to obviously implement his style of football. Very difficult, as we said before, when you're not getting that time on the training pitch. You've got European football, you've got 2 games a week, your rest days, everything else in between.
Yeah.
Trying to instill some sort of new philosophy there is very difficult in such a short time frame. But
if anything, they should have went directly to Sean Dyche from Nuno. Like,
I'm not sure Sean Dyche is that close to Nuno's philosophy either. I mean, he's very, very much rigid, and I mean, if all they're worried about now is staying up, maybe Sean Dyche is the man. But is he going to give you that open, expansive football that the Forest fans kind of got to enjoy last season?
No, I don't think so. Well, he's definitely not.
It was just a bit of a crazy appointment to bring Ange in.
Do you know what? It's the ownership's fault here at Forest. Everything that's gone on.
Would you? Do you think they would have been better off if he kind of had to swallow his pride a bit and just buried the hatchet with whatever was going on in the background with Nuno and
100%, and then call it at the end of the season and part ways?
Yeah, or even get to January and I don't know. It's obviously it's a difficult one. Are they just going to go into a cycle now for the rest of the season where every manager that goes in there is going to be on tenterhooks and worried about getting results, getting them early? Because we spoke about this before. Actually, one thing that we didn't touch on in the news, and I don't want to keep going back to United and Amorim, but during the international break, Radcliffe had an interview with the Business Post, I think it was, and he was asked about the manager's position, and he said, we've signed him for 3 years. He's going to get 3 years.
I saw that in that piece.
Which is interesting, and it'd be interesting if he's adopting that philosophy and how bad it really has to get for them to kind of go back on that.
Yeah, because it's a bold statement, because if you get to January and United are, say, 16th again, and the writing's on the wall as to where United are.
Yeah, if there's just no sign of them turning around or finding a bit of form. I mean, that poor lad with the big mop of hair now, like, it's getting ridiculous. I mean, it's kind of looking like this mic cover that we have here.
Yeah. But I suppose just to go back then to Forest, I do think like Chelsea are going to beat them this weekend, I think, and Ange will be gone.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea coming off the back of beating Liverpool as well.
Yeah. But then, actually, sorry, the thing with Chelsea is you don't know what you're going to get with them either.
No, the international break probably came at a bad time for them, because when you come off the back of a win the way they did and how they won and how they beat Liverpool that time, you'd nearly want the next game to come around.
Yeah, straight away.
Now they've got to build up a bit of momentum. Now
they've got the fixture I hate Arsenal having the most, and I think any club does as well, is the lunchtime kick-off after an international break. It's a bit of a slogfest, isn't it? Yeah. Kind of lacks a bit of rhythm, but you'd still fancy Chelsea to do something there. I think so. Yeah, it's just not looking well, not looking good for Forest, or for Ange. So about going Chelsea there. I think so. All right. Then the 3 o'clocks, the first one there, Brighton and Newcastle. That should be a good game. Yeah, I think so. It should be a good game. Newcastle I tipped them to win it, because I think they're still fairly solid. They don't seem to be that team that we've come to see over the last couple of seasons. They haven't kind of hit that bit of form just yet. No, but they've actually had a tough enough kind of. They have had a opening. Tough. They've played a lot of the. They've had Liverpool. They've had Arsenal. City. So yeah, it's. They'll be glad to see the back of those games now. Yeah, maybe this is their time now to gather a bit of momentum. They're level on points with Brighton at the moment. Are they on 9? 9, yeah. They're 11th and 12th in the league, both on 9 points. Yeah, so definitely an interesting fixture. I think that'll probably be a better game than maybe the Chelsea Nottingham Forest one. Yeah. But could have a bit two teams that like to go out and play football, so could have a Desmond. Ooh, Desmond Tutu. I can see. I mean, Voltamade has hit the ground running. He has, and I can see him scoring in that game. Yeah. So maybe he might be the difference, but we'll see. But definitely an interesting game. Yep. Then moving on, then we have Burnley and Leeds. Another interesting one, maybe for different reasons. Yeah. Last season that would have been a championship clash. I think both teams at moments so far this season they've given a good account of themselves. Look like they belong in the league. Again, a very difficult one to call. Only with home advantage maybe might edge it. And again, I think Leeds are one of those teams. They can be really good one week and kind of look like they're just going through the motions the next. So Yeah.
It just depends on what leads show up as well.
It's an interesting one. Do you know what? I'm gonna go Leeds.
I'll go Burnley, just to
Okay.
be different.
Fair enough. Then moving on to Palace and Bournemouth.
That's a really interesting one because both teams are flying at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing really well. Again, is that a Selhurst Park?
It is.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Maybe you just lean towards Palace
Just for home advantage.
just for home advantage.
Yeah, maybe.
But again,
But Bournemouth are looking
I mean-
really good. Well, so are Palace, to be fair. But
well, they are. I mean, Glasner and Iraola both been touted for the United job. I don't want to keep bringing everything back to United, but both managers have been impressive.
yeah,
You know, we spoke about it before. Palace coming off the back of 2 trophies. I know, obviously, one was the Community Shield, but they still had to go out and do it. I would say
could be a draw.
Bournemouth and Semenyo. When I seen Semenyo in that last game, my God,
Yeah, and this is what I was going to say.
he's such a special player.
I was hoping you were going to say Palace because I was going to say Bournemouth for the Semenyo factor.
Yeah.
So we're both on Bournemouth.
Oh, I almost forgot about Semenyo. Yeah, go on, we'll go Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth. Nothing controversial there. Just
Yeah, just Semenyo factor, as you said.
then Man City and Everton.
I'm going Everton win.
Yeah,
Just because it's City.
I'm going to go draw. City leading, and then a Jack Grealish equaliser in the last
I
few minutes.
would love to see that.
So would I. That's my
Jack
perfect
Grealish
scenario.
scoring in front of the City fans.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you he'd be one of those that wouldn't celebrate. You
No,
know,
he
he'd do
won't.
the respectful thing.
He would, but I would
He
love to
won't
see
do
him
an
celebrate
attaboy
the
or-
shite out of it. Yeah, over the other end of the pitch. Yeah. No, he won't though. He's not going to get his boombox out and start.
Maybe going over and shushing Pep. You can't really do that because he's only on loan.
This
It's still
is
his
true.
parent club.
This is true. So yeah, I'm going to say draw.
I'm going to say Everton.
Okay, fair enough. Actually, sorry, just to go in a little bit more on it, it's an interesting one, and we might get another look at City and how they look. And this is a tougher test for them this week than maybe the last couple of weeks they've had.
Well, including United in that, eh?
Yeah.
Nice one, Dave. You're not wrong.
Well, let's just say United didn't put up much of a fight in that game, so
No, they're pretty poor.
yeah.
Part of me in the back of my mind is thinking at some stage City are going to find form. They might do what they did last season in terms of just plodding along, kind of staying relatively inside of that top 4 without really impressing, and then the other side of Christmas then they'll just get a run of games,
Yeah, they
find a
could
bit of
easily do
form. It's just Rodri. I think Rodri's out again, isn't
He's
he?
out again, yeah. I don't think it's long term, but it's medium, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, so I mean he's not getting a run at all, and
You just know City are not as good without him.
no, I mean the stats would show you that exactly. So
Yeah. So yeah, right.
they do have Ryan Cherky back from injury. He was close to being back in the last game, so we may see him start. He's quite an exciting player. I think they brought him in from Lyon. I remember him playing against United in the semi-final of the Europa. Pretty good player, but yeah, I think they're just lacking a bit of spark, just something special.
Yeah.
With the exception of Haaland, obviously,
He was just
he's
a machine.
absolute freak of nature.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you actually because I was thinking about the Haaland thing. Do you think he gets enough credit for his goal scoring ability? I think when he came into the City first, City were such a well-oiled machine,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, if you put any decent goal scorer in there, they're gonna get loads. Like Raheem Sterling was banging them in.
Yeah.
You know, if you put anybody in, you could put Dave from Rathout in there, and he'll get you a couple of goals. Do you know what I mean?
Probably not.
Couple of own goals.
But does he get enough credit?
Does he get enough credit? Was it just expected that he was going to do well, and because of that? Because I feel like because City aren't playing well now, and he's still scoring, he might only be starting to get his flowers now.
Probably. I think you're right there, because I was going to say he certainly is now. You know, they'd be all over him every week on Sky Sports and whatever. You know,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. That's not without justification. To be honest, he is a I mean, he is down, he's banging goals in, you know. I think where maybe he doesn't get enough recognition, or not even recognition, is, and maybe I was guilty of this as well, as just looking at him as this powerhouse who barges through a defence and he's through on goal and finishes it. But his finishing ability is actually top quality as well.
Yeah.
It's not just that he's this lump of a machine up top.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his goal the week before last, and it was literally just an individual moment. He kind of, ball was played into him. He still had plenty of work to do, and he showed that sort of powerhouse, brute strength, but also the footwork to put him in position. Very much, maybe to a lesser extent than maybe Semenyo did, but just being able to create something from what seems like nothing and change a team's fortunes around.
I suppose what I'll say about him is, and to his credit, is that I actually think City would be worse off at the moment this season if he wasn't there.
Yeah,
he's dug them out of a couple of not dug them out of holes, because that's what he's there for. But if he's not there, are City getting some of the 3-point results that they've
they
gotten?
don't look like they've got goals coming from anywhere else.
I don't know. We'll see. I think it's an interesting one to watch for on Saturday. But yeah, I think draw anyway. Then the next game is Sunderland and Wolves. I think Sunderland win there.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. I mean, Wolves, what are they on, 2 points?
2 points. Have looked a little bit better than their first few games, but Sunderland have actually been very impressive. So I think Sunderland at home. It's Sunderland win.
Yeah, I'm going to second that. Not much argument for me.
Then Saturday evening, have 5:30 kickoff is Fulham and Arsenal.
One of the London derbies this weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because
is that at Craven Cottage?
It is, and you look at Arsenal and you think they're looking well and they're going strong and should win that game, but Fulham have caused Arsenal trouble over the last couple of seasons, and we've had a couple of bad results there at Craven Cottage. I do wonder what that's going to look like on Saturday.
I'd be very surprised if you lose the game. I don't see Fulham scoring. I mean, your defence has been so solid and so difficult to score against.
Yeah,
Fulham haven't been overly impressive in front of goal. I mean, I know they stuck 2 past Man United, but everybody does that.
They've looked very mid-table, Fulham.
Yeah, and they're quite content to be there. You know,
but the problem with
where
that
they are as a club is they're quite content to be there and just being in the Premier League every season until
the problem with that going into a game against a team like that is they can just show up this week.
Yeah,
and be a banana skin.
Cottage, from what the professionals will tell you. I think I heard Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes talking about it on one of their podcasts with Paddy McGuinness, and they were talking about Craven Cottage being a difficult place to go, and yeah, they certainly didn't make it easy for United earlier on in the season. No, but I still see Arsenal coming home comfortable winners there. Yeah,
look, I'm going to say we'll win, because if Arsenal have any ambition of being the favourites for the title, which some people are tipping them to be,
they're the games you have to win.
They're the games you have to win. So I'd say solid 2-0 for Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't see Fulham scoring, so unless for whatever reason Arsenal are struggling to create chances and it ends in a 0-0 draw, I can only see an Arsenal win.
So moving on to Sunday, and we have the 2 p.m. kickoff is Spurs at home to Villa.
Go on, the Spurs.
I feel like that has a draw, and I'm not just saying that.
I can see Spurs winning that.
Can you?
Yeah, I haven't been impressed with Villa at all.
They have.
I know they've kind of bounced back a little bit. They started the season very sluggish, but I think Spurs are on the upward trajectory, and I can see them taking all 3 points there.
You could be right, and I'm just probably bitter.
And yes, you are.
Not bitter.
And you usually are.
I just don't like Spurs, and I'll make no apologies for it.
It's not that you make no apologies for it. You actually go out of your way week in, week out to display that hatred.
Yeah, so if any Spurs fans are listening, don't care.
I don't like it.
I'm only messing. Spurs fans, you're alright. I just don't like your club.
No, he doesn't like you either. Especially you over there in the corner. I know you're listening. Still crying over Harry Kane.
Actually, on the subject of Harry Kane, one of our listeners, Tommy, got back to us about our most hated player in the Premier League, or in football, and his was Harry Kane. Calls him a diving cheat, and he doesn't like the way he does this thing, and he does actually do this of backing into a player who's jumping for a header. And I've seen Harry Kane do that on multiple occasions. No, he's not the only player who does it.
It's the dark arts, Dave.
Yeah.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with Harry Kane at all. Actually, I've always got. I mean, you have to commend him. Is he England's all-time top goal scorer?
I think he is. Yeah.
I'd imagine he's Spurs as well. And there is talk of him coming back to the Premier League at some stage, maybe
just to finish off that record.
Yeah. I'm not too sure how far away he is.
I'm not sure. I don't know. They do speak about it on the Gary podcast.
It'll probably take about 2 seasons, would it?
Would it?
It should be achievable over 2 seasons.
The thing with him is, he's not a player who's ever relied on pace or speed or anything like that. He's just a pure finisher. So he could easily come back and just bang in 15, 20 goals, you know, like.
Yeah, it's his game intelligence. I think he picks up good positions on the pitch, reads the game well, kind of brings the rest of the team together. He's not the type of striker to play off the shoulder of the last man. He comes deep, collects the ball, links up play. I mean, how often did we see that magic connection that him and Son had? And yeah, it'd be interesting if he was to come back to the Premier League. Would he just come back to Spurs, or would do you know what? I'd take him. I'd definitely take him.
I could see him. That's a move I could see.
The only thing is, I don't see him going to United because United have adopted this new philosophy. Now, how long they stick for it, I don't know. But under the new Ineos regime, it seems to be boy young. You know, even if you're still paying top dollar.
Surely Ashley Young's not playing anymore.
No, do you remember, anytime I think of Ashley Young, I just think of the time he got bird poo in the mouth.
Yeah.
And he still denies it, doesn't he?
Well, it was there for all to see.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. But do you know what? I'll tell you, I'd take prime Ashley Young now as well.
Yeah.
He'd probably start over most of them.
Just a hypothetical. I think if United got a chance at a Harry Kane for 2 seasons, you have to take it.
I don't think United to go for it, right? But if we were speaking hypotheticals, you would say, okay, let's take him. But who's giving him the ball?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's fair.
The problem's not the striker department, really, even though we've gone out and bought Sesko and whatever.
Yeah.
I
suppose actually that sends the wrong message, doesn't it? Actually, because
we did a lot of that. I mean, we bought Ibrahimovic, we bought Cavani,
Ronaldo.
We bought Falcao,
brought Ronaldo back.
I mean, the list is endless. Did it work? No, it didn't.
Worked with Henrik Larsson.
Maybe you could make a point for Zlatan.
Yeah.
He did get a Europa League.
I suppose we're here talking about United,
as always.
And the next game of Sunday.
I was in good form, Dave. What are you talking about, United?
The next game for Sunday is Man United and Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one, Dave. I'm not going to lie.
No, I wouldn't be if I were you.
Even when we're in form or playing any sort of rhythm, or coming off the back of a win or two, it's a tough place to go to. But the only saving grace is Liverpool have been relatively poor, but the only thing I think is they're a different animal when United come to town. When United show up at Anfield, Liverpool definitely show up.
Yeah,
and I think this is nearly going to be a springboard for them.
This is what I'm worried about. This game.
This is nearly going to be, if they get a result and really put it to United.
Like if they hammer you,
and this is what
Isak gets a hat trick, and and
you just know they're going to be up for it.
Yeah,
you really do. You know they're going to be up for it. The crowd are going to be up for it. It's going to be hostile. I'm not sure how well United will respond to that. I guarantee you, he'll definitely start Casemiro, because he's the type of somebody with the right mentality that can go into that game and not feel the burden of it.
Yeah, even if you get 70
where
minutes.
There's a lot of youth around that might crumble under that pressure.
Yeah, no, I think it's Casemiro
in that environment, but
for sure
something is niggling at me, and I just think it's going to be a springboard for Liverpool to kick on and really get their season going.
Yeah, no, I spoke to a couple of Liverpool fans out the back of the Chelsea result, and I said, you know what, this international break has been, it's perfect timing for Liverpool, and it was.
Yeah.
Just they hadn't looked anything like they should, and I think they just needed that step away from Premier League football for a week or two, and this game is, as you're saying, it's just a perfect game for Liverpool to come into now.
I mean, the same could be said for United, because United have obviously come under heavy criticism. Obviously, we went out and we won the last game. It kind of touches on what we were talking about last week in terms of the hypersensitivity around football from one week to the next. We talked about Van Dijk getting kind of clipped up last week, and he could go now and have an unreal, absolute worldie of a game now against Man United.
Actually, Tommy, as part of his comment about Harry Kane, also finished that by saying, we are wrong about Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, of course, he's Liverpool.
He said he just hadn't got the time to send us a 2-hour voice note. So, yeah.
Well, Tommy, I'm putting it to you now. Send that on, because I will counterclaim everything you have to say about Van Dijk. He is highly overrated, I'm sorry to tell you. But I guarantee you that same comment is going to come back to bite me, because he's going to have an absolute worldie at Anfield against Man United.
Choosing the wrong week to say this.
I guarantee you Sesko will be through 1-on-1, and Van Dijk will throw his face at it or his backside at it or do something, and he will be receiving plaudits for another week. And United will be looking for Ange to move from Forest, and the cycle will continue. But I mean, as I was saying, the same could be said about United. If United go out and get a result, as I said, I'm not hopeful, but if they do, maybe that's a bit of a springboard for United then as well. So I think,
could be. Although I think it's a springboard for one club, I think it's just part of that on and off mentality for United at the moment. If they were to go and get the result at Anfield, to go next weekend and play whoever they're playing,
Brighton,
and have just a horror show, because that seems to be the pattern at United at the moment.
And I don't like having those two teams together as well, because Brighton are notorious for taking points off us.
They do it a lot of teams, to be fair.
They've just over the years, especially going there now, that game's at Old Trafford, but Brighton do like to play against us, and you know yourself, going to Anfield is tough at the best of times. So this could be really great. I think if we go on and beat Liverpool by some miracle and then go and beat Brighton, I think that young lad's on his way to the barbers.
Oh, really?
I think so. Well, okay. I don't know. I can't remember what the fixture list looks like after the Brighton game, but I'd hope that would be, as I said, a bit of a springboard. My fear then is it goes the other way. Liverpool make a show of us. Van Dijk gets man of the match. Tommy gets the throw in my face.
I suppose prediction for the game?
Oh, I'm going to say 2-1 United.
Oh, okay. I'm going
That's
to say.
Speaking with my heart, not my head.
I'm going to say Liverpool are going to probably hammer you. I don't really want to put a score on it, but.
No, you're going too far there.
Too far?
Too far.
Too far.
I'm sitting right here, Dave. I'm there giving it the big end about how great Arsenal's defence is, and then you go and say we're going to get hammered.
It's nothing to do with United. I think it's going to be.
It's all to do with me, is it? It's personal.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
No, I think Liverpool are just going to show up, and I think they're going to be.
But they haven't showed up yet this season, so
no, it's a perfect opportunity, though.
Perfect opportunity.
So we'll see. So I think Liverpool.
Yeah, we will see, right, Dave? Keep your comments to yourself.
Straighten out next week.
And Tommy, you're going to get it as well.
Tommy, we'll have you on next week if you want to come onto the podcast and
give a Liverpool's fans point of view.
Yeah,
we'll have the mic ready to go.
Or if you want to send that voice now, give it out to us.
Yeah, we'll play it out.
Or if Liverpool do win on Sunday, if you want to send that voice now of an old glow, we'll play it. No problem. Yeah,
we'll find out one way or the other, Tommy.
And I'll record Gav.
And if Liverpool win, Tommy, we'll take this to the streets. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, one more game then for game week 8, and we have West Ham and Brentford on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, can't call that one. I'm going to say Brentford. I'm going to say Brentford.
Going to say Brentford?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a draw. Because
Because you just want to say Desmond 2-2 again?
No, I don't want to say Desmond 2-2
You
again.
do want to say it.
Desmond 1-1.
Doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Doesn't.
No.
Actually, was 1-1 the name of the giant in Game of Thrones? I think it was. Like 1-1 or something
Didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right. So fair enough.
Wasn't for me.
It ended rubbish. So, Gav, I think that's probably it for this week, is it?
That is it. As I said, a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be having Liam Tiernan from Finglas United on. He's the head of football there. And that will be the beginning of our new interview series. So we've a couple of guests lined up, and we're hoping to have a couple of those episodes out between now and Christmas. But if you would like to come on, if you're somebody involved in your local club, or if there's somebody at your local club that you think we should be speaking to, drop in a comment or a DM, and you can also get us on AnyGames.ie as well.
Yep, drop it there to the club section and drop in and say you'd be interested in coming onto the podcast.
Yeah, and we'll make that happen, and we'll get in touch, and hopefully we'll have some of you on our podcast in the near future.
And as always, if you are enjoying listening to the podcast, head over to Spotify and follow us there and leave a review and drop into the comments. All that stuff helps the podcast and it helps people find the podcast. As well, head over to YouTube, follow us there, hit the notification bell to keep up to date with new episodes. And on Spotify, there's a notification bell there as well. So head over there and hit that as well. And follow us on all our social platforms. We're on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and TikTok.
And stay off Reddit. It's a cesspit.
It is. Not a fan.
Well, we leave it there, Dave. Slán go fóill, everybody.
Goodbye.